Thank you, Jason. I'm Mike Traynor. I'm President and CEO of Union Mission, and a lot of people know us as Grace House and Parker's House downtown, but we're actually serving people from Statesboro all the way down to Jessup, and we serve over 400 people a night. Started a soup kitchen in 1937 down on Liberty Street. Today we have emergency housing for 124 beds, which we are almost full right now. I think we have 1 or 2 beds available in all the programs for women and children, men, and for unaccompanied women. We have special needs housing. We have permanent supportive housing, which means people with disabilities have places to go, meaning maybe a mental health disability, maybe they have a substance abuse problem, etc. We also have transitional housing for men right now, and we're focused on moving forward and filling strategic gaps in the community. We have 3 big bets. One is take care of home, which means we take care of our facilities, take care of our people that work with us. Facilities, because we want to give people a dignified place to live and something to aspire to. Secondly, collaborate and engage, be good at the things we can be good at, partner with organizations that can do the job better than we can in other areas, so that we don't spread out the capacity that's available in the community and a bunch of us doing the same program, but none of us doing it well. So we really kind of focus on the core things that are important to us. And then discipline and focused growth, which means that we look to fill strategic gaps, but we'll only do that if we have a financial future with it, meaning that we have to be able to be sustainable. Don't start a program and then a year from now drop it. So we've been very focused on the gaps, and that's accelerated the growth of the organization. I like to say it's unfortunate we have to serve so many people, but fortunate that we can. We served 1,250 people in the last year in all of our programs. And believe it or not, we have over 200 dwellings that are outside of what we have on Farm Street that have 200 plus addresses in the different communities where we serve, most of them in Chatham County. We served 180 children last year. We don't really talk about that very much, but we served 180 children. We had, and the remainder being adults. In our future coming up, we just recently purchased a Family Dollar store, a location at the corner of Thumb and Oglethorpe Avenue. And the reason for that is there's a lot of problems down there, and we've been focused very strongly on trying to remove those problems. And we bought the building, we fenced off the area with a nice historic fence, but we're gonna put a homeless resource center in there, because what happens is homeless people have to go to all these different locations to get the services that they need to be able to get to housing, because that's what we're about at the end of the day, is get people to housing. So the idea is that you can be in that building and get the things that you need. Partner agencies will have a place in there. We're looking at having a bunch of different services that the homeless community needs. But what really drove that decision, on top of the problems we were having at 702 Oglethorpe, was, which was right next to Parker's house, is that we made an agreement with the city to start a day center down at Grace House. We told the city we do 50 individuals a day. We serve them breakfast, lunch, a snack at 3:30 in the afternoon. We bring in all of our partner services, because we're all about wraparound. We're food, we're transportation, we're clothing, we're job assistance, we're job placement, and we have our own mental health counseling division. And so we brought all those resources to bear, and guess what? We're up to 138 people a day that are coming through that program right now. So we're extremely busy. We've outgrown the space that we have. So the day center will be in the middle of this homeless resource center, and then we'll put all the services around it, kind of like a square with all the different places you could shop all the way around it. In addition to that, we're expanding our Women and Children's program on 41st Street, so we can serve 33% more clients there, and we expect to do that next year. That's already on the plate to do. And then we found that we could put 19 transitional housing units for women that can stay for up to 2 years, that need to stay longer than 90 days in a program. And we call all the things we do are programs. We have a shelter within a program. So folks can stay in our shelters for 90 days as part of a program. And so to get them to housing. So we'll let people come and stay for a night, but we want them to stay longer. Because we can connect them to services, we can be very successful in getting them to housing, or get them within the system of housing. We do have an interagency council on homelessness that just came out with a 5-year strategic plan. There are a lot of objectives and a lot of action steps, 6 main goals, but we just announced it to the public You can go to the website and see that. It's the Homeless Authority has a page on its website where you can go see that under the Interagency Council on Homelessness. One last thing I'll just say is I brought some cards, and these cards have phone numbers and hours of the different service providers in town. Old Spanish City Mission, Inner City Night Shelter, ourselves, where they can find food, if they need the Homeless Authority, what the phone number is, what the website address is. And believe it or not, most of these folks have phones. We know that. Almost everybody has a phone. And if they didn't have a phone, they're going to get a free phone because those are available to them as well. So I just want to tell you a little bit about that. We are not a street outreach team. That's not who we are. That is done by the Homeless Authority. And so they're the ones that are out on the street talking to each of the individuals, trying to get them in. Now we'll help them, but they have funding to do specifically that job. We are providing the services when they come in, and we're doing our best to keep them in the programs as we go forward. So last night we had well over 400 people staying in our buildings last night. So we're extremely busy overall.
The mission on Bull and 41st, is that associated with you, or is
it? It is not. It's part of Old Spanish City Mission, which is a separate 501c3 organization. And the dive is over on 37th, I think.
2020 Bull Street.
Yeah, it's its own organization as well, and it's supported by the church, which is great.
I just have a question because the issue with people who are unhoused that I think a lot of my neighbors have the most difficulty with has to do with folks that oftentimes are not going to be eligible to get into housing or services. I'm going to tip my hand here and just say that I'm a big fan of housing first, low barrier housing, because if you drink a lot and you really don't want to stop drinking a lot of the time you don't have the opportunity to get housing. And I was just curious if you guys have thought about kind of making the barrier, you know, a little bit more realistic for some folks who aren't going to 100% clean up, but they would love to be off the street.
We do all we can.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, do you require sobriety or require treatment?
We do, and not when you come in initially, but we do expect you to start making progress, right? You know, there are some shelters in town. You can go there every night and stay there in those conditions, right? Yeah. But you know, we're not in the contemporary setup of emergency housing yet. That's an ultimate goal, is that everybody have their own room.
Yeah.
And that would make it a lot easier. But when you have 72 men in one building, you know, there's a lot of things you have to deal with. But we do follow the Housing First model. And the Housing First model, it says that, but there's a lot of paperwork that comes with that. Yeah. And a lot of requirements that come with that too. So there are obstacles. But our community needs more beds for people with substance abuse issues. They need more beds for medically fragile. We're 3,000 households short on affordable housing. 2,000 of them are just for people that, you know, just don't have the income for the housing, and over 1,000 of them are permanent supportive housing units for people that don't have the income but may have disabilities, mental health, substance abuse, etc. So there's a great need, and you know, we're all trying to do the right thing to make it work.
And how can we support y'all? You know, because like I would rather, I donate all kinds of stuff to Goodwill that is like very stuff in very good shape, you know, so like how can we help you guys?
Yeah, so like we have a clothing closet. We don't charge anybody anything. You come down and get what you need. We open every Tuesday morning for 3 hours, and we have about 75 to 80 people come through. Right now what we need really badly is men's clothing. We're getting tons of women's clothing, but we're really short of men's clothing.
I have a husband, and he's a big guy, and he needs to get rid of a bunch of clothes. So is there something on the card that
our address is on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We take clothing. I mean, obviously, you can make financial donations also help. Because here's the secret: government really doesn't support emergency housing to the level that they do permanent supportive housing. So we have to raise a couple $1 million a year just to run our shelters. I mean, and get buy all the food and have the staff and the caseworkers and all those areas. So without that, there are huge money losing programs. So we have to raise that extra money to make it work.
What is the name of your organization?
Union Mission, since 1937.
And they have a website and a newsletter, and I'll be putting some information on our website to direct people to get more info if they want it.
And I brought a couple things. I brought an annual report so you can see the programs that we have. And then I brought a booklet on, these are the new programs or the new projects that we're working on right now. It's an $8 million capital campaign, and we're well on the way to achieving those numbers, and to make sure that we can meet the needs of the people that are here in the community. So we were serving just 3 years ago a little over 600 people, and now we're over 1,200. And that's because of the expansion of services, not necessarily because there's more people on the street. It's very visible with the people that are on the corners, right? It's not quite as visible with the people that are chronically homeless.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions while we've got them? All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
I'll leave that stuff here in the cards too.